Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you all had a great weekend. We are back in the swing of things. It's Monday, markets were open today, and we're going to take a look at some news stories. So we got Core Scientific and Hive providing their production updates for November, which is for Core, and December for Core. Hive also provided their December updates. They also provided us with a little bit of an update on their HODL position. So we'll look at all that. We'll also take a look at the markets. Markets were mixed a little bit today. The S&P and Dow were down towards the end of the day, but they were up in the beginning along with NASDAQ. NASDAQ actually finished up in the green. BTC and Ethereum both finished up in the green. We'll look at all that, and we'll look at the Bitcoin miners, see how they did today. They had a fantastic day today, which was nice to see. A little bit of a continuation from last week, so that was great. Okay, we'll look at all that, and as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, and I'm invested in buying coins and companies for full disclosure. So if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out, and let's take a look at the market here. So, like I said, the S&P was down today 0.08% towards the end of the day. If we look at the chart here on the 4-hour, you can see the beginning started out nice in the green, and then towards the second half of the day, we fell down on it. Same thing with the Dow Jones. We can see it here. That one was down 0.34%. NASDAQ was up 0.62%, which was nice, but it also at least finished out in the green. It was up much higher than where it was at the end of the day. Bitcoin, looking at the daily chart, we can see here that it had a nice day today. It was up 0.31%. It was up higher than that. If we look at it here on the daily, it was up to 17. Well, what was the high on it? The high on it was 17,396, and then we closed at 17,177. We're still above 1,700 or 17,000, so that's a good thing right there. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see that the RSI has come down to 67. Last time we were back here, and the price was at that point right around 17,000 actually. So we are still up on price, even though the RSI has come down, so that's a good sign there. 1-hour chart, we can see that RSI has come down to 53. Last time we were back right around here, price was way lower, not that much lower, but it was at 16,970 roughly. And that's a good sign as well. That gives us a little bit more breathing room. We can possibly go up a little bit more higher in the week, depending on what the CPI data comes out later on this week. We'll cover that when that does happen. Okay, so far we're looking okay. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum was up today as well. It was up nicely 2.33% on the day. It had a high of 1,345 and a low of 1,285 and closed at 1,320. If we look at the 4-hour chart really quick, RSI has come down to about, 72, so still a little bit oversold or overbought. And if we go back to here, price was lower at that point, so that's a good sign on the 4-hour. 1-hour chart going back to the RSI is 62. Last time we were back here, price was lower, so that's a good sign as well, and we have a little bit more breathing room as well. Now, the miners also had a huge day today. If we look at them here, go to the daily chart, we can see that ANY was up today 6.41% at the close to 28 cents. Argo looks like flat, 0% to $1.42. BitDigital was up 22% to 89 cents. They were up way higher. They were up to almost, they had a high of $1.09, which was pretty big. Bitfarms was up 23.19%. They closed at 67 cents. They were also up to a high of 74 cents. CleanSpark was up 5.24% to $2.21, and they finished out the day, they hit a high of $2.40, so they did pull back as well as everybody else here did. Core Scientific was up 22.86% to 8 cents. DigiHost was up 16.76% to almost 60 cents. DMG was up 17.43% to almost 15 cents. Greenidge was up 37.9% to 54 cents. Hive was up 15.93% to $2.11. Hut 8 was up 16.97% to $1.07. Iris Energy was up 3.13% to $1.32. Marathon up 19.8% to $4.90. Mawson was up 0.08% to only 39 cents. Then we got Riot at 14.25% up at $4.89. Soluna was up 3.8 to 38.5. And Wolf was up 2.45% to 69 cents on the day. So great day for the markets. A lot of rebounding has been happening here in the miners and Bitcoin, so that's good to see. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick. So this is on the 7-day average. 7-day average went back up to 267. If we look at the 1-day average, we have gone up to 305, but then we've fallen back down to 259 right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. Miners are still getting plugged in. Some are getting unplugged. And that what brings us to our first story here, which is going to be on, I believe, Core Scientific. So Core Scientific provided us with their November and December updates, which is nice because they didn't provide our November updates back in December. So they're catching up, which is good. And this way we'll keep monitoring them, doing updates on Core Scientific for you guys. Okay, so quick update here. So operations produced 1,356 in November. This is Bitcoin, and then 1,435 Bitcoin in December. And then their self-mining hash rate was 15.4 in November and 15.7 exahash in December. So at least we got some updates for that. We don't have any updates as far as their HODL is concerned. I'm guessing they're selling pretty much everything that they mine just to pay off some of the debt and just be able to function the way they are. They are in Chapter 11 bankruptcy right now. We'll see if they are able to get out of it or not. It looks like they might be able to if Bitcoin continues to go up. Time will only tell on that one. Okay, so that's basically the update that we do have here. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet on them really quick, and we'll get into Hive here next. So Core Scientific has about 357 million shares outstanding. That is based on the current market cap of 32 million divided by the stock price. We're getting that the number of shares right there. Current hash rate is about 15.7 exahash. Future hash rate about 17.2. They are about 91% fully operational right now. There's still about 9% growth left in them. Let me zoom this in as well. Their hash rate average per miner is about 99 terahash, which is really good. Their BTC production, you can see here, has been going up for the most part, except we had a little downtrend here in September to 12.13. October was 12.95, November 13.56, and December 14.35. So that has continued to grow, which is good. Looking at their BTC per petahash, or this would be BTC per exahash, it should be. Actually, I need to update that because we're doing the exahash now. Their efficiency has gone up a little bit here from a low of November of 88.06 to 91.29. Which is good. So that's at least kind of rebounding a little bit. We'll see if that can continue going forward as well. BTC HODL, like I said, pretty much zero. At least that's what I'm calculating based on that they didn't provide us with any information. And looking at the data here, we can see here that in October, they generated about 25.4 million in revenue. November was 23.8. And then December was a little bit higher to 24.3 based on what they mined and the average Bitcoin price for those months respectively. Okay. There's their BTC production and the revenue generated from that. And then what they have sold, it looks like they sold about 1,418 BTC potentially in November, and then another 1,435 here in December. They did have a little bit of a HODL back in October of 62. I'm guessing they sold all of that because they're not reporting anything. So that's kind of what we're going by. So from the time that they started selling back in June heavily, they have basically sold about 337 million worth of Bitcoins here in the last 7 months. And I'm surprised that has not been enough to keep them out of bankruptcy. But it is what it is. Okay, so as far as the miners that were installed here, pretty easy. In November, we installed approximately 10,000 of these 100 terahash miners here. December, we installed another 3,200 or so to get us to the current exahash that they reported of 15.7 exahash right now. So we're pretty close to that as is. So there's not much left to install. They have about another, 15,000? Yep, another 15,000 miners left to install before everything is said and done. And this is just for their self-mining on that one. Okay, so they are getting pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if they get to that sometime. Probably early Q2, I'm guessing, in 2023, if that's the case. And then as far as institutions are concerned, they actually had an increase in institutions, surprisingly. From last time we checked on this was back in November. They had 180. This time around, today, they had 187. Shares also went up to 101 million, and that's 27.22% owned now. As far as buy ratings, everything went down to a hold. So you got 5 holds on them. Price targets are 50 cents, 32 cents, and 22 cents. I have them at this rate. It would be like a PE of 1 based on their last 3 quarters that were reported already. And then this current quarter that we're in, on the 73 million here for a total of 396 million in revenue for the last, potentially for the four quarters. Now, based on that, we're looking at 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at a 55-cent stock at PE1. I mean, right now they're trading way, way, way lower than that. If the Bitcoin starts going back up a little bit and they do start to potentially pull themselves out of this hole that they dug themselves into, they might be able to get, depending how high Bitcoin goes, anywhere from maybe a 5 PE to a 10. So $2.77 to maybe $5.55 on the good side of things. But that all just depends. So that is it for Core Scientific. I don't think there's anything else to really go over. They do continue to increase nicely here. They did increase by, what was that? Here they increased by about 1 exahash in November and then 320 petahash in December growth-wise. So they are still growing really, really well. They pretty much almost doubled their hash rate here from April. Well, let's take a look at from December. Or from January, actually. Let me see if we can unhide those rows. There we go. So they started at 7.5. They are at 15. So they did double their hash rate in this year, which is huge. Going, what is that going to be? 7.8 exahash growing by that much in a year is a outstanding feat of accomplishment. Some of the other miners that we cover here would only wish to get that much hash rate growth. The only ones that have done it, I think, are Riot. Riot and that might be Riot and Marathon have grown that much, or close to that much, as Core has done this past year. Okay, so that is it for Core Scientific. Let me know if you guys are still investing in them. Are you guys trading them? Are you going to hodl for the long run on this? My dad's still hodling it. We'll see where it gets us in the next couple of years. But yeah, let me know what you guys are doing with that. And let me see here. I want to hide those. There we go. Okay, back to normal. All right, so that's it for Core. Let's take a look at Hive really quick. So Hive provided a little bit more information. There's going to be a little bit more time spent on this one. So here's their overview for their production updates for November. So Hive produced 213.8 Bitcoin in the month of December from ASIC and GPU mining operations. I believe 212 was from their own ASIC mining, and then only 1.8 was from the GPU. So really not a lot of production there. They were over 100 BTC equivalents when Ethereum was going on. That's not happening right now, and they're just trying to mine what they can that's still profitable. They did earn about 3.15 million in income for energy price hedging and grid balancing strategy. I think this is part of their GPUs that were not running right now because it's just not profitable. So they're running things that they can. At least I would think so. When we look at the numbers that I have for them in my spreadsheet, you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. And then that also would equate to about 184 Bitcoins in value had they been able to mine with that energy right there. So that's kind of where I'm thinking that this was based on the GPU miners not running, or for the majority of those not running, okay? Next, Hive strategy to improve its global efficiency was achieved by the agile acquisition of 3,570 Bitmain S19J Pros at prices steeply discounted from the previous year. We already covered this story on them purchasing those, so we already know about those. In addition, Hive is pleased to deploy its own ASIC Bitcoin miner system for proof of work, the Hive Buzz Miner. We talked about that one also, and it looks like they got some more of those in as well. As a technical update, in the last 2 weeks, Hive has received and installed over 3,400 new generation Bitcoin ASIC miners in the 100 terahash to 110 terahash range, which is a massive efficiency upgrade, which will lower the company's average cost of producing Bitcoin and improving gross mining margins. That's good. Would be nice to know if those were the Buzz miners or just the regular S19s. Hive has also installed approximately 2,050 of the 3,570 Bitmain S19 Pro miners announced in December 2022. So I'm guessing these here might be the Hive Buzz miners, maybe? I don't know, we'll take a look at it. These machines arrived in the last week of December, and Hive's team expects all 3,570 S19J Pro miners to be installed on or around January 13th. So they're getting close to doing that. Additionally, Hive has received and installed 1,423 of its Hive Buzz miners. So here we have that information, powered by Intel Block Scale out of the total production quantity of 5,800. So they're about 20% there, roughly. And then December 2022 production figures. This is where they ended the month at 2.06 exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity at the end of December. So this is actually lower than where they were in November. And then this is where they had an additional 1.4 Bitcoin were mined from GPUs only. So 1.4 instead of 1.8. Excuse me. Yeah, so this is just abysmal from where they were just a couple months ago with Ethereum mining. Frank Holmes, executive chairman of Hive, stated, "We are very happy to be producing over 213 Bitcoin this month, while also earning over 3 million this month from our grid balancing and energy sale initiatives." Yeah, I mean, that absolutely helps. Makes it a little bit more difficult to track, but yeah, down at the bottom line, it does help. And then Aiden, president and COO of Hive, noted, "Additionally, our technical team has updated our software stack which monitors the vital statistics of our global fleet of ASIC miners. This allows us to have great insight and granularity into the performance of each machine using bespoke API calls as we carefully study the overall fleet efficiency in joules per terahash to ensure we are mining with maximum profitability during a Bitcoin bear market." So that's actually good news there, that they are doing that right now. Now, annual production figures. So in calendar year 2022, Hive mined a digital assets equivalent in value to 4,752 Bitcoin. Based on the daily average Bitcoin price, these digital assets included 3,146 Bitcoin, and the rest was from GPU mining. This represents an 18% year-over-year increase in digital assets mined by the company. Hive mined digital assets equivalent in value to 4,032 in Bitcoin. So it is an increase. It's a small increase. They haven't grown as much as some of the other companies, but it's nonetheless an increase. So that's a good sign there. Hopefully they can grow some more in 2023. So while this appears to be a modest increase, the Bitcoin network difficulty has surged 46% in this 1 year period, which would reduce Bitcoin production by 46% all other things being equal, which is true. So we have had pretty huge increase in the network hash rate. They were able to, at least in the beginning of the year, do a lot better than they have done in the latter part of it. The last quarter has not been kind to them. The increased mining difficulty is a major headwind to profit margins. The only way to stay ahead is to acquire more machines to increase Hive's petahash, which are also more efficient, which I keep harping on for all these miners, is they got to stay ahead of the network hash rate or they are going to be generating less Bitcoins going forward. Okay. Now, let's see here. Hive Buzz miners to be manufactured, tested, and shipped by the end of January 2023. So they expect all 5,800 of those to be shipped, tested, and out to them by the end of January 2023, which is good. So that'll give them a pretty good boost in petahash right there. Now, Bitcoin HODL update. So this is where it gets a little tricky. As of today's date, which is the 9th, Hive maintains its treasury of 2,348 Bitcoin with a market value of about 38 million. So this is as of today. If they're mining approximately, what are they mining right now? I'd have to figure it out. But it's accounting for about 8 days worth of Bitcoin mining in there as well. So we might be able to take that down to maybe 2,300, something like that. I just left the number, the 2,348 that they provided. It would have been nice if they would have actually provided the end of December number for us. That would have been really, really nice, but they didn't. It is what it is. But at least we got some sort of an update for it. So last quarter, Hive strategically sold Bitcoin to increase cash reserves to fund opportunistic expansion in the technology bear market. Mr. Holmes stated, "We have seen a great opportunity to expand in this depressed market where ASIC prices are down almost 90%, whereas Bitcoin prices is down approximately 70%, which is true. Acquiring ASICs at a steeply discounted price positions us for ideal return on invested capital and further decrease our cost of production for Bitcoin and improves our gross mining margins in the interim bear market," which is also true. Those are all true things. And that's why we keep saying, or at least I keep saying, right now is the time to be buying ASIC miners if you can. If you got the cash to do it, now is the time to do it. You may want a dollar cost average into it, but now is the time to do it. Because we just don't know where the bottom is. The bottom could be, we could be at the bottom right now, and then things start going back up if Bitcoin starts going up. We just don't know. Okay, and I think that was it for it here. Yeah, so a lot of information, but at least we got some updated information on the HODL and where they are with everything right now. So let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them, and we'll call it a day here. Okay, so Hive right now has approximately 71.3 million shares outstanding, market cap of 150 million, stock price is at $2.11 as of today. And their current hash rate is at 2.06 exahash. Future hash rate, I lowered this, and we'll get into why in a minute, but I lowered that to about 3.4 exahash based on the current number of miners that they do have. I think some miners are being taken out of service. Okay, current HODL is about 2,348, valued at about 39 million right now. And their BTC production, as you can see here, ever since September, when Ethereum went to proof of stake, their BTC production got whacked, and it got whacked hard. So you can see here, in September was 396, in October was 307, November was 264, and now December 213. So that is not good news. BTC efficiency also got whacked a little bit here. You can see in August it was 139, had a little bit steeper efficiency in September, and that was based on that they were able to mine a little bit of Ethereum, converted over to BTC for, I think, like the first 10 to 12 days before that switch happened to proof of stake. After that, their efficiency went down to 110 in October, 105 in November, and now it's down a little bit more to 103. And I'm using their ending network hash rate, or their current hash rate that they have reported, not the average or anything like that. I'm just using the end of the month network hash rate for them. Okay, so there's those numbers, and then we can see here their Bitcoin production coming down, BTC per exahash value coming down as well, and then the revenue, we're looking about 3.6 million right now. If you include the other 3 million that they made on the energy credits or selling back to the grid, they would be about 6 million on the revenue side of these things. So that wouldn't be too bad. That would actually be kind of good. Kind of the same thing that like Riot is doing. They're also getting credits for their energy and things like that. So that would be about, like I said, 6 point something million in revenue. But based on the Bitcoin itself, it's only 3.6. That's kind of what we're looking at. And that is a decrease from November, which was 4.6, and October was 6 million. So they have continued to go down, and that's based on their production coming down as well. Okay. As far as how much they've sold, so they reported in October 3,311 Bitcoin at the end of October. November, we didn't get the number for November. Looks like they sold only 264 potentially. I'm using the same number there, possibly sold more. And then in December, they sold, well, in between November and December, it looks like they sold about 1,440 Bitcoins during that time frame, if you add these two up. So they've sold so far this year, going back to May when they started selling, really. I think they've been selling before that, but we really started covering this since June when others have started selling quite large amount of Bitcoin as well. They've sold approximately $65.8 million worth of Bitcoin in those 7 months right now. Okay. Now, the miners themselves. The only way I could get it to work out where they were at 2.06 exahash was to take out a portion of the older 74 terahash miners, which they said that they're optimizing and switching things out for newer miners to make it more efficient. That's kind of what I did here. I took out some of these 74 terahash miners. They might still have a couple here left, it looks like, potentially. They might be even taken out already, but we still have a little bit here. About 3,650 left. Everything else, I think I took out, that was the 74 terahash miners and the 79 terahash miners as well, because they're just not as efficient and they're power hogs. So I would take those out. I don't know if that's the case that they have done this, but this is kind of what I would do. I would take those out, put in the newer machines in place. But that was able to get us down to the 2.06 plus the ones that were added, which were over here. We added some of these Intel ASIC miners, the 1,423. We also added the S19, the 1,930 of them. And then we also added some of these over here as well, 120 of these, to get to the 2.06 exahash for them. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at right now, and that got us to the 3.6. They were operational for the most part, it looks like, for 31 days in December, so pretty much for the full month. And then if you take out the GPU miners here that were mining, this is probably where they got the credits from, or the revenue from the energy being released back to the grid. That's kind of what I'm guessing happened here. Okay, if you guys have any other thoughts, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. As far as institutions, the institutions look like they stayed the same, 99, but shares did increase to 12.2 million from 11.8. Percentage owned also increased a little bit here from 14.28 to 14.67. We still have the same buy ratings, 1 strong buy, 2 regular buy ratings. And price target stayed pretty much the same. The high is still at 7. The average went down to $4.89. And the low went down or stayed the same at $2.87. So they're saying 7 cents or $7 for the high, $3 for the low. I have them currently at, let's see here, let's take a look at it. Again, we're using the last 3 quarters that have been reported, along with the current quarter that just finished up in December. And we got them to a combined total of 137 million right now. 50% net income from gross revenue with a P of 15. I would say they'd be more in line of being around, $15 based on their growth that they do have currently. So what do we need? We really need to see them growing even more in 2023. I'm not so certain that the network hash rate is going to grow another, almost 50% this year like it did in 2022. I think it might be a little bit more slower growth because we are in a bear market. A lot of miners are almost done putting in all the miners that they do have. We still have some left, but it's not as many as we had in 2022. So I think there's going to be maybe a 20 to 30% growth in the network hash rate overall this year, maybe around 25 even, somewhere around there. That's just kind of my estimate. So they need to at least grow by that much in order to keep up with it, and need to grow more than that if they want to stay ahead of it. So that is it. Overall, it's nice to see that they are getting rid of some of the older miners, the less efficient ones, and it's also good to see that they are, being opportunistic and buying miners when they can. Love to see that continue going into the new year. They have, enough in HODL. They got 40 million in HODL. Their balance sheet is still pretty good as of, when was this? September numbers. If we look at their assets, let's see, cash, well, they didn't have too much. They had cash of 8 million in hand at that time. And yeah, what can I say? Love to see them grow some more, just like the rest of the miners. They're going to have to grow. Okay, that is it. Let me know if you guys enjoy this or not, what you guys think. And then, as always, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Love you all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.